So plenty of video games have like some sort of end game. Good morning afternoon everyone, welcome to another video. Today I'll be kind of specifically talking about Minecraft. Now Minecraft does not really have an obvious end game. You have the Ender Dragon battle. That could be considered an end game, but you know, a lot of people just do speed runs and then they don't really accomplish much in the game. And at the end of the day, right, when it comes to these end game things, it's usually just, hey, what can you do when you are more experienced now? And I'd like to talk about it a little bit today. So an often common thing that people often do in Minecraft is to just make a bunch of farms, right, to kind of optimize resources. I think part of that is also for the creation of more farms so that you can create actual structures. So I'll give you an example. So here is a cathedral I made in Minecraft based on the Phật Diem Cathedral in Ninh Bình Province, Vietnam. I use Lightmatica to basically get the schematic of it, build it in creative, and then put it in survival. Now this is not a rare thing. You often see this with a lot of builds. And I wouldn't call this mega build by any means. I mean, it's big. It's not something that I would probably make in the early game. There's also a little bit sneak peek there. If anyone watched the series, I'll show you more. But I think there's a lot of good fun to be made. But as you can see here, there are a lot of things that require, I guess, more advanced Minecraft levels to make. Like, for example, this copper flooring. So unfortunately, copper is not the easiest thing to farm. Unlike golden goods and iron farm and all of that, it's unfortunately it's easier to find, but it's harder to farm. And when you need a large amount of copper, although I might have slightly over AFK in this farm, because I do still have some copper left, but hey. Here is the drowned farm. So obviously you need, in Java edition at least, you need to be in a river biome. So I need to find a river biome, the correct size. So we got that. Very happy about that. And here, let's go up and see what's up. Oh, okay. So obviously, if we go down here, the drowns. So basically, they spawn in here. And because the water is not actually solid water, the drown will slowly drop in here, and then they will come up here and come here. Because in fact, we have a lot of rotten flesh to manage. Why not? Looting tree does help a little bit, but as you can see, the copper rates are extremely atrocious. And then you have gold blocks here, which are done in the altar, right? In order to get those gold, I need to get magma to make the gold farm. And before I get the magma to make the gold farm, I need to make a magma cube farm. Because yes, you could theoretically mine a lot of magma. Again, that probably requires more endgame like materials to protect yourself. Obviously, I'm not that kind of person. I don't like going in the nether. I know, I apologize. But over here we have a magma cube farm and we get magma. So all of these farms will be linked in the description below. Hopefully I can still remember which video I got them from, but a little bit of searching should be fine. Here, the magma cube spawn on top. They look at the iron golem and then they go down and they get crushed by either these sweet berries, but there's like one wither rose in there. And then here we have the gold farm. Welcome to the gold farm. Once again, I'll link this in the description, but I really like this design. And yeah, we use magma blocks and a lot of slabs to make sure that only piglins spawn. And here, they drop in here. It works as both an AFK farm and a killing farm, which is why I liked it so much. So essentially, right, all of this goes in here, and then an item sorter, which is not part of the farm's design, but I was making so much stuff that I need to sort it out. So those are the heads, more of the golden goods, and here is the rotten flesh. Yes, I need to make double floor of like rotten flesh because there's so much, but here, when we kill, it will drop a bunch of weapons, so we need to find a way to quickly dispose of that. So we smelt them up, and we get gold nuggets from that. So yeah, that's how I try to... Whoa, okay, okay. Anyway, that's how I try to like get as much gold as much as humanly possible. So yep, that's a lot of gold. That's generally not something that you would be easily accomplished in survival. Then again, you know, you can always go mine, right? But that's gonna take a ridiculous amount of time, and if you had terrible gear, it's gonna take even longer. Let me show you my original house I made. I made this house like 11 years ago now. So that's what it looks like. I know I didn't change much at all in terms of their structure. And welcome! In fact, I still have some old screenshots if I'm gonna show you. And yeah, I did replace this with an ender chest, but you know, for the most part, the structure is the same. And you know, when it's early game, you kind of put more, I guess, function over form. And as you go on, you can put more, I guess, form-related style. Even, I think one of the earliest build, not earliest, but like one of the later builds I did during the Caves and Cliff was to incorporate these deep slate. And I'm not saying that making these kinds of farm early games is not valid. And the reason I say that is because in my modded survival world, I made this house relatively early game. And yes, this was a series I planned to make some videos on, but then I unfortunately did not have all the files. Some of them got corrupted, boo-hoo. I put on some flowers, right? But if you notice, it's just a bigger house that, in fact, my brother made an even bigger house. And this is, you know, something that's completely doable early game, so I'm not knocking that. But I think there are certain difficulties in, I guess, finding certain blocks or using certain things to represent something, like as I showed with the gold and copper that I'm gonna use in my normal survival world. So yeah, I know this isn't exactly apples and oranges, it's modded Minecraft, so yeah, it's different. You know, Minecraft do get updates, and for the longest time, if you ever seen my older stream, I thought kind of like the purpose of endgame stuff was to catch up to these updates thing. Anyway, as I was saying, is to kind of collect these kinds of things, and I haven't had the time, honestly, to follow a lot of Minecraft updates these days, as, you know, naturally everyone grows up, unfortunately, and we all move on with life. And so I don't have as much time to follow updates, and oftentimes things like the breeze and all of that, those are in hidden dungeons, which takes time for me to find, and oftentimes you don't really have that motivation to keep searching the same area over and over again, because at the end of the day, the landscape are for the most part similar. There's not a lot of huge new biomes, and these are rare editions, so you're gonna have to go through mostly the same terrain. And by that point, I'm just not really into it. And I feel committed to like a long-term world that I don't want to start a new world. I actually don't like starting new worlds. It's quite rather annoying. So yeah, I would still say that making builds, they're still, in my opinion, one of the better endgames options. I mean, exploring updates, don't get me wrong, they're fine as well. I did the same for some things that I find interesting too. Like, for example, this little guy right here. It's the Nautilus. Yeah, the Nautilus, right? And my other example would be these biomes-based thing. In fact, I even got all of these new biomes cows. But again, I like collecting animals in general. That's why I got Lightning Strike to strike some of these mushrooms. But if you notice something, if I open up the map here, you can notice that, oh wait, there's a lot of walls here, and that is kind of based on the wall of Constantinople, but there's a lot of differences that it's mostly just I make it my own type of thing. But this uses a lot of sandstone and red sandstone, and I know I've been playing Minecraft since forever, but I just realized that red sandstone don't generate, so I actually had to mine up a lot of red sand. And we're also using minecart improvements here, because as again, we use a lot of resource, right? And these resources don't always generate itself inside of these normal biomes. So obviously you can use things like Elytra, but then you're gonna have to waste a lot of time repairing them, and that's not quite worth it. So using minecarts and making like tons of railway can be incredibly beneficial when you just need it to, I guess, mine some things. But minecarts are so slow that I needed to activate the minecart improvement, and that helps a lot. Behold, this... Oh, why are there 2 villagers there? Behold, these are the sandstone mine that I use to mine sandstone, and this is a large amount of things that you'll probably never see again. And yeah, that's kind of the thing with these kinds of resources, is that even dirt, you have to find places where you can mine. There are still some red sand left, but I have mined, see, a large chunk of red sand away from this very small mesa because it was here shortly before the update. So that chunk is gone, this chunk is gone, this chunk is gone, this chunk is gone, this also, this whole swath is gone. So it definitely requires a lot of resources, and it's not something that I would particularly put my thoughts into earlier game, and also because like it insta-mine with my shovel. So why I do not want to spend a lot of time just manually mining it by a worse shovel that doesn't insta-mine the sand. Now there's a big project update because it's right next to the mesa that I'm about to show you, and it's another example of these huger builds that I made later on in the game. So 3, 2, 1, and here it is. So this right here, if anyone remembers from my live stream, this is the Ocean Monument base, and I took a lot of time on this. Whether it's mining sand for glass, trading the villagers, mining away the blockage, draining it. In fact, I recorded so much footage that it would fill my drive. In fact, some of the hard drive broke, which is that's very unfortunate. It's just a lot of time sink. And some of the time, these later games build are just kind of like what I would do in the early game build, but more impressive. I've always had obsession with walls, for example, and these are extremely early game, and they don't actually protect much. Like spiders can climb up, but not a lot of stuff can, so that's fine, but yeah. And I also made this more basic wall in the Spruce Village. In fact, you can't even walk on them. Since I'm not using it in survival anymore, I just put it in my creative world. But I also made walls here in Quepcraft, if you remember that old. Or this old SMP I used to run, which contains, once again, walls, but this time is the type where you can actually walk on them. And that's why I'd like to, for the most part, end kind of like the content part of this video. But if you've noticed, it's this channel 10-year anniversary. So just as the Minecraft world grows from, like, you know, evolving, so too does the channel. And I also have this little budgie over here. Hello! But yeah, I know I've been extremely busy with university, with, I guess, social life, with gardening, with... I don't really have a lot of time for just playing Minecraft, let alone making videos about them. In fact, all of the projects that I show are not that impressive, and it took me quite a while to finish them. So, yeah, I do apologize for that. I know we don't have a lot of people anyway, but... And there's quite a lot of things that I struggle with. For example, right? If you notice, this thumbnail is different from the rest of the thumbnail that I've ever done. And the simple reason is just the fact that a lot of thumbnails these days kind of emulate the style that I did, but they use AI for these flashy text, and I don't want to be associated with those kinds of stuff because it kind of screams like low effort thumbnail. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I still intend to make more videos, right? But I'm not sure how fast those videos are gonna come out, if at all, because again, I'm busy. In fact, I'll be graduating very, very, very soon. Not that soon, but still soon. So yeah, a lot of stuff that I needed to do and prepare for. So I guess if you've been watching this video until now, I thank you a lot for watching this video. It's somewhat of a mess thematically, and I still hope you enjoy it though. If you have any suggestion, you can leave it down in the comments below. Maybe comment how long you've been watching. This YouTube channel is 10 years. Took a large chunk out of my lifetime, but not really, because I did not spend the best effort on the YouTube channel. I made a lot of basically low quality videos where all I did was just walking around and then just, oh look at that stuff. Look at that stuff. So thanks for watching this video, really. And hopefully, I'll see you soon in another video. Maybe I'll finally make that ocean monument video now that I'm finished it. Alright, see ya.